The story of Zetsu. Alright? So it all began a long, long time ago. During the time of Hagoromo, Homura, and Kaguya. They had a battle between each other. Their mother was trying to, basically absorb all the energy in the world and, be like, a god of the world, basically. Take the energy for herself. 10 tails, they fought against it. It was the tree that was, stealing people's life force and everything else, right? They defeated her, but some of her chakra came off. That was Black Zetsu, and it worked for a long time to try to bring her back. When Hagoromo had sons, Indra and Ashura, he created basically, conflict between them, the two brothers. But, he put ideas in Indra's mind since he was a powerful shinobi. Saying you will be, powerful one day, and one day you'll overpower your father. You're better than him. You're better than your brother and other things. He's like, in his younger days, he was like, whatever. But, he sowed hatred between them. He actually went into the Uchiha, stone tablet, which was Indra's descendants, and he wrote a message for somebody so they could complete, the work of the infinite Tsukuyomi. And he wrote it to where, one would see it one day, right? And they would execute the plan. This person ended up being Madara Uchiha, which he was there for Madara too. Madara was, one of Indra's descendants, but also his reincarnate too. He helped Madara get to where he needed to be. He introduced him to the Zetsus. Zetsu was created, white Zetsu I'm talking about, through Hagoromo's DNA and, knowledge of, because of the shit that he saw on the stone tablet, right? Zetsu, helped Obito out, white Zetsu. There was a lot of white Zetsus. These people, the white Zetsu came from the tree that was absorbing people during the days of Kaguya. They would go to the tree. They would be put in cocoons, basically put under genjutsu in cocoons. And then they would be, basically their organs and would be harvested and everything else, right? And they would be like plant people, like Zetsu. Everybody knows who Zetsu is, And there was a bunch of these things, right? Zetsu's running around, under the ground with Madara. Madara saved Obito and grafted, Zetsu, organs onto him. Zetsu also allowed Obito to use his body, a certain Zetsu clone. The one that had the, swirls and shit. The black Zetsu was running around and attached itself to, a white Zetsu body. Watching all this develop, with Obito and Madara creating the plan that was actually his plan. He was the one who sowed that into Madara's mind. He was the one who went in and, writ on the old tablet and told Madara, didn't tell him, but basically told him on words, do this, make this happen, gather the tail beasts, create the infinite Tsukuyomi by becoming the 10 tails, casting that genjutsu on the world. And that's how you'll save the world. He read that, knew that, but it didn't originally say that. Obito, or not Obito, but Obito was then the person for Madara, because Madara had died, right? and then it was on Obito to get this shit executed. Zetsu knew of Obito. Zetsu, knowing of Obito, right, was with him during this time. He became a member of the Akatsuki too. You know, the half white, half black face called Zetsu. They were running around. He was running around the Akatsuki with Obito. He was just a surveillance guy for the Akatsuki. Not powerful by any means, but he informed Obito of everything that was going on. For instance, when Itachi died, when Deidara and Sasori died, he told Pain, what was going on. He told Pain and Obito what was going on. As Obito, we know, is the real leader of the Akatsuki, and Pain was like the figurehead of the Akatsuki. He was the guy who did that. He witnessed Sasuke kill Itachi. He saw Deidara detonate. Oh well, actually, that was Obito who knew about that. But he went to all the places where they died and shit, and he informed the other members. Eventually, though, he was one of the last members, right? With him, Kisame, and Obito. Uh, Zetsu had there was other Zetsus, right? Zetsu clones. You know, they used Hashirama's cells through Yamato to create a Zetsu army. But using Yamato wasn't used for that purpose. No, he was used for the purpose of reinforcing their, abilities to where they could then imitate other shinobi's looks and appearances, right? Zetsu, all those Zetsu are fighting in the war. These were weak ass Zetsus. People could take them out, defeat them easily. If it was another shinobi from, Jonin level or Chunin level, they could defeat a Zetsu clone. If they knew the Zetsu clone was, a Zetsu clone. Some of these Zetsus couldn't do that though, and they were just straight up Zetsu bodies, and they were fighting the shinobi. But this Zetsu that I'm talking about the main one, the one that's black. It was, hiding and biding its time. During the war, he appeared, attached to Obito. Obito became the Ten Tails, fought against Naruto and Sasuke. Naruto ended up, no talk, no jutsu to Obito, right? And then Zetsu was there still, and he was like, well, I still need to help Madara out with executing the plan for Infinite Tsukuyomi. So I'll bring him back to life with the Reni rebirth. Obito had a change of heart, but he was forced to use that to bring Madara back to life. Madara came back to life and absorbed all the tail beasts and became the Ten Tails Jinchuriki, killing Sasuke in the process and then killing Naruto as well. But then they came back to life because Hagoromo, blessed them with, the sun and moon seals, right? They were supposed to seal Madara away. However, they forgot about Zetsu. Black Zetsu was then there. Told Madara, this plan was laid so you can bring back Mother, which was Kaguya to him. She was then brought back through Madara using, both Rinnegan, casting, Infinite Tsukuyomi, and she came back. She was then going to destroy the world. Naruto and Sasuke fought against her, Kakashi, Obito, and Sakura. The only ones not under Infinite Tsukuyomi. Zetsu was helping, Kaguya find Naruto and Sasuke, as they have certain skills, multi-shadow clone jutsu, and then, Sasuke knows how to, move around, too. But they ended up defeating her, and him. He was defeated as well. He was the last Akatsuki member, essentially, I guess. If you look at it that way, Zetsu wasn't powerful at all. He just like played a big fucking game. He was there for the beginning of all this shit. Like Ninshu itself, like he's seen it all develop. He's seen the, hatred that, came through the Uchiha bloodline and everything else. He's seen the beginning of the Akatsuki. He was there in the Akatsuki acting like a weak ass member, which he was, but he was orchestrating the whole thing essentially since the beginning, but at the behest of Kaguya Otsutsuki, because he came off of Kaguya Otsutsuki. He was like her spawn, of her like chakra energy, that was still left on the earth to like rock around and then like bring her back. That was his job, and that's all he was doing for the longest time. But he was defeated by, Naruto and Sasuke, But that's Zetsu's life, basically. As told by Darius the Green Angel. Be cool calling on the corner, though.